I'm Angel.
I'm Randy. How's everybody doing?
Oh, I know this is really, you've got that late night radio DJ voice again going on.
Yeah, I figured it'd been better to upgrade the mic
Yes,
instead of
I
having
know. I
it's
feel
not so far from my mouth.
like technology is awesome, right? So now
Oh yeah.
we hear you crystal clear. You kind of look like a gamer. You like playing, Call of Duty or World of Warcraft.
Yep,
You're in there going into the dungeon.
definitely. Gamer also, so yeah, that can definitely help.
Yes. All right. So we're here another episode, and today's episode, we thought we'd talk about dreams, right? We're going to talk about some dreaming.
Yes. We're going to talk about dreaming and lucid dreaming and all the other kind of dreaming that can be a part of what we wake up to every morning.
And and being clear that dreaming in terms of like dreaming, not dreaming of owning a castle or, this is not a manifestation conversation. This is the things that happen in your head when you're asleep.
Right. The things that
And
happen in your head that may or may not be a message, or it could
yes.
just be something that you watched before you went to sleep and now you're dreaming of it.
Yes, I
So,
mean that is such an interesting conversation. I want to start with my favorite, Disney line and music is a dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. I
mm,
love that. I think that's I think Cinderella. Is that Cinderella? And she sings a dream is a wish your heart makes when you are fast asleep. And
maybe.
and I dig that because I feel like sometimes for me, there's like different categories of dreaming, and
Hmm.
one of the categories of dreaming is completing stuff. Like sometimes I'll be thinking about stuff, especially if I'm like when I'm deep in a project and I'm living in spreadsheets, and then I'll go to sleep and I'll dream of numbers and spreadsheets and reports and coworkers and stuff like that, right?
Yep, definitely.
So that to me, that would be a case of what did Sigmund Freud say? Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Yeah, sometimes it is what it is, and it may not mean anything. It may
you
mean
know,
everything.
you
It
know,
really just
and
depends on what you're thinking of and how you want to look at it.
yeah, and as a practitioner, from the past, that's one of the things people used to come to me all the time was for dream interpretation.
Right.
And was it Joseph in the Bible? Joseph's coat of many colors, that's how he got, you know, kind of came into power was interpreting dreams for the king, I think it was.
Right.
And so we've had this history of dreaming
Hmm.
since the dawn of man.
Right.
And like,
And I think, also it it can get complicated, right? Because, like you said, a dream could be a dream. A dream could be you're dreaming of a dog that talks to you, and the dog can be someone that was in your past. Like it can get so crazy when you start really
oh
like
God,
diving into dreams and what it
those are
means
my
and
favorite. The weird, obscure, where you wake up and you scratch your head, you go, "What was that?
right,
What?"
right. You're like, okay, I was just this, and the dog was there, and the cat was over here, and it was just like
Oh gosh.
it grew wings and went flying. Yeah, like, wait, what?
And then there's also the dreams where you're visited by ancestors.
Hmm.
Like a parent or an uncle or something will come to you in your dream, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'll talk to you, or
Yep.
sometimes you'll be doing something with them.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll be doing something. Sometimes they'll talk to you. Sometimes they'll have a message for you. I mean, sometimes, and those are the rare occasions that there'll be something else that pretends to be your family members to get you to do something. So
Oh,
it,
do
it, it,
tell.
it get
Give
it
me
can
some
get
more.
deep.
I want you to talk about that. Talk about that.
Well, that one is more, there are people out there that can do certain things and catch certain things, and because you are comfortable with these people or those images, they will come to you in those images to get you to drop your guard to then do what they want you to do.
I always say, now don't come for him. He's just sharing something he
Right. I'm
knows. So
just
he's not.
sharing. I'm just giving my own perspectives, my own thoughts,
But
my own
it's
experiences, but that's what I've come to understand. that that is what could happen.
That could
Doesn't
happen that
happen all
way.
the time. It could happen.
Yeah, and then science will tell us that the brain is a complicated organ. It's
Hmm.
we use a very small percent of the capacity of our brain, right? And our
Yes.
brain synapses is firing off 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It
Hmm.
never stops. And so
Yes.
we go to sleep because you need sleep. You need sleep to
Yes.
recover, you need sleep for all kinds of things to regenerate cells. We need sleep. So we go to sleep, but our brain never
Hmm.
does.
No. It keeps firing and it keeps going. And that's a lot of reasons why some people have insomnia and a bunch of other things because your brain just can't keeps quiet.
And so some people believe that dreaming is just your brain just sitting, you're not giving it anything to do.
Hmm.
So it's just kind of doing its own thing, and that dreams don't really mean anything.
Yeah. And then there's the other side that understands that dreams are your spirit traveling to different dimensions or different areas or different, timelines, and you're getting messages from there.
So that to me is one of the more interesting ones. Is if you can imagine, it's like you go to sleep, you go into like a portal, and you're
Hmm.
like zipping off to all kinds of different places and experiencing things for a reason? Is it, are you collecting data to come back to this existence and do something about, or
Or,
hear me out,
or,
or is this existence the actual dream?
right, and that could be it. It could be the fact that we're dreaming right now,
Right
and
now
it's
is
like
the dream,
right now is the dream,
and
and when
that
you go to
thing over
sleep,
there is that's the actual existence.
yeah, it could be. It it definitely could be.
You know, when you go down the rabbit hole of the multiverse, because there are people
Hmm.
out there that are having the conversation of multiverses being real,
Yes.
and is dreaming and the traveling and meditation are these ways of accessing these multiverses that we may exist in elsewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It could be the portal, or it could be the you know, the best way to get our conscious programmed mind out of the way so that we can access that stuff.
Hmm. Heavy, deep, deep, heavy. And, like for me, I dream. I have always been a vivid dreamer. And as a writer, I get a lot of stuff process. I'll wake up and I'm like, oh, that's a good story. I get a lot of inspiration from my dreams.
Hmm.
But then I work through stuff in my dreams and I wake up and like, what did that mean? Like I'm walking down the beach and a whale jumps out of the water and then starts talking to me. And then I'm at a pyramid
Hmm.
and then I'm sitting on the pyramid. And then my mom drives up in a car and says, hey, do you want to go get some ice cream? And so
Right.
then we go get some ice cream, and the guy that's serving the ice cream is The Rock. And like you have a dream like that. And what do you do with that dream? And so for me, that there's a lot of imagery
Hmm.
that's in our dreams that have actual meaning. Like
Right.
water means certain things, and roads mean certain things, and cars mean certain things, ancestors mean certain things. But sometimes you dream about The Rock, and sometimes again, a cigar is just a cigar. So how do
Right.
you separate having I forgot what comedy movie I was that I saw was maybe it was The Simpsons. I don't remember where the character was dreaming and they were like on a beach and they were being served by all these studly people. And then their spouse was like, hey, you got to wake up. And they're like, you're interrupting my dream. I'm
Yeah.
never going to get this back again. And so sometimes it's like where our minds play. Is that really all it is? Or do dreams actually mean something?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a one right answer when it comes to that, right? Because I think it's as obscure as think looking at a Rubik's Cube, right? There's different sides, there's different angles, there's different colors, there's all different kind of ways to look at it and translate it. And even a dream like what you said, right? It's one of those things that you almost have to piece it apart to then be like, okay, well, this part I was in Egypt on, looking at the pyramids. This part I was talking to a whale. This part I was getting ice cream. Each part could be telling you a different message. And one part of it, like you said, could just be The Rock. You
Yeah.
saw The Rock, you saw The Rock in the movie, you dreamt of The Rock.
Yes.
So it could be just that he was just serving you ice cream because you enjoy The Rock.
And
But
you enjoy
the
ice
rest of
cream.
it,
Yeah. Yeah. The
right.
rest of it meaning nothing. Like, so here's the other thing. This I remember this from childhood. People don't talk about it much today, but this was like a big thing in my youth. When you're unalived in a dream, do you unalive in real life? Because
So
that was a big thing in my youth. It's like
that
if
was a big
that
thing of mine too, where they were like, if you die in your dream, you die in
your
reality. And
reality.
it's
So
just,
it's like so you're falling, and so it's almost like a panicky thing where you're actually asleep and you feel yourself dreaming and you're about to die,
mhm.
and you're like, ah, and you get all
Yeah,
panicky.
panicky. Yep. You get that dream where you jump up and you're like, oh, wait, what is it? Then you start panicking. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
but and I truthfully, that's where Freddy Krueger got his popularity from.
Oh, yes. That's, oh my goodness. That's where the
That's
nightmare came. That's where the nightmare came.
that's
Yes.
exactly where all that
That's where the
popularity
nightmare
came from.
came. Oh my goodness. It's going on.
So, I mean, is it true?
I don't know. I mean,
Yay
it's
or
something
nay?
people have had to have, I've drowned in dreams before, and and water has a meaning, right? And
Right.
water is about emotions, and you're drowning is about suffocation, and you look at what's going on in your life. And even, to me, even if because therapists and psychiatrists and psychologists are trained on dream interpretation, there's
Hmm.
psychology around the brain and what it's doing in the dreams. And so if you're having a dream where you're being suffocated, and then you look at your life and stuff that's happening in your life,
Hmm.
you probably can point to some sort of emotional suffocation, barriers, lack of control, things like that. So I believe that dreams can have meaning. I also believe that dreams can joyously have absolutely no meaning at all.
Hmm.
And
I
sometimes they're
agree.
just fun things your brain does, but every once in a while, as a spiritual practitioner, my brain works through stuff, and the dreams, because I'm way too distracted in the daily life
Hmm.
for me to sit down and deal with the stuff, so I'll go to sleep. And I've had many dreams where I've woke up and go, ooh, what does this mean again?
Yeah.
um so I think what sits for me, so we if you end in a dream, if you dream about a person, ooh, this is a good one. Okay. If you dream about a person that you know,
Hmm.
and then there's intimacy in the dream,
Hmm.
does that mean that you should go and act on that because you did it? It was in a dream?
I mean, some would say yes. That was a Some would say that's a surefire sign of okay, yep, that's where I need to go do that
The
because the dream told me I should.
dream told me I should. Let's go.
Right. And some will act on that. Others, if especially if you're in a relationship and that happens and you're dreaming of having relations with someone else that's not your partner, now it turns into a big fight because now they're like, well, why are you dreaming about that person?
Why are you dreaming about that
Why are you?
person? What's up with
Hmm.
that?
But
So,
do you want to have a relationship with this person? It's just so it.
oh, oh gosh, this is such an interesting subject. But so, for me, I believe that people get attracted, you're attracted to people. It's none of my business,
Hmm.
whatever. Um, you fantasize about people in your dreams. It's part of the human experience. Somebody's attractive, you go to sleep and you have a fantasy about them.
Hmm.
It's part of being human. Do you act on it? Well, if you're single and you're available, and
Right.
and deep down inside you've wanted to and you haven't had the courage, and now it's kind of bubbling up in the dreams, maybe your dream is telling you, why don't you just give her a call? Why don't you just give him a call? Why don't you ask her to dinner? Why don't you
Right.
invite him to coffee? That might be what's happening. But if you're in a relationship, you're in a monogamous relationship, and maybe you guys are
Hmm.
struggling and you're maybe you're bored, whatever's happening, you're fantasizing in your dreams. Maybe you should just acknowledge that you're having a fantasy and just let that go. It's just sometimes we fantasize. Sigmund Freud.
Right.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes it's just right. Sometimes it is what it is. Just let it go and move on. Maybe it's telling you that you need to have more intimacy with your partner. And like it could
You
be
know,
many different things.
so um if you are dreaming about some famous actor or actress and there's something going on, I'm hoping that you're not now becoming a stalker and going to go try to find that person. To your point, it could be just saying, hey, maybe you should open up to more intimacy in
Hmm.
what you've got going on now. And it's just the face of this person
Right, because
that
that's the
you've got
person that you admire or that
that you
you like.
admire, or the
Yeah.
last movie that you
Or
saw, or
the last movie you
the
saw.
last
Yeah.
the last image of them you saw when you induced doom scrolling on YouTube and
Yeah.
you saw an interview with them. Um, and then there's all the wonderful kind of metaphysics or pseudoscience that's attached to
Hmm.
it, mythology and lore. So I'm part Native American, so there's a lot of um power around understanding animals and imageries,
Mm.
the totems and all that kind of stuff. And so when I look at dreams and specific animals come in, sometimes the energy that comes with that animal totem is appropriate. It's so fascinating. It's like astrology. You don't have to believe in astrology, but if I describe a Leo to you and
Hmm.
your friend is a Leo, like, wow, that's totally them.
Right.
And it's crazy, right? It's totally
Yeah.
that's totally that person. How did that happen? I don't know how that
Hmm.
happened. And so if I describe for you the energy that comes with a spider, um, and you're dreaming about spiders, and I talk to you about what's going on in your life, it's so uncanny how it could be
Right.
appropriate. Some people would say it's just a coincidence.
Yeah. Some people would. Some people say it's just a coincidence. Some people would say that I was dreaming of certain things and or I killed a spider earlier in the day. And, it a lot of things will get chalked up to coincidence and it won't go any deeper than that.
Do you,
So,
I believe in dreams. I journal my dreams. I have, as a writer, I have crazy dreams. My
mhm,
dreams are vibrant. When I don't dream, if I wake up and don't remember a dream, that's when I get concerned.
mm.
I almost feel
So
like
you
something's,
prefer to remember the dream than to just forget it
I don't know if that's the best way to put it because I don't remember everything. I just remember that I dreamed. Like I'll
Right.
wake up, I'm like, I know there was a car. I know that it was daylight and that we arrived somewhere. I can't remember who was with me, but I remember there's a dream. I'm like, good. I dreamed last night. But
Hmm.
sometimes, every once in a while, I'll go to sleep and I just wake up. And I always get disturbed about that because I feel like something's not right with me if I don't dream. And then I know people who say they don't dream.
Right.
And
No, I mean, is it something wrong, or is it
I
just like
don't
you
know.
said? Is it just like a cigar? It's a cigar.
Yeah,
Maybe you didn't
right.
have a dream, right?
Or
Maybe you didn't
you
have a
just
dream, or maybe you did and you don't remember it. And it is what it is at that point. It doesn't have to mean anything's wrong with you, but
that right there. And I think it's important to say before we go on that anything that we're saying, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you
yeah,
if you're dreaming and you're not dreaming, or you're dreaming crazy stuff, or you're dreaming like just mechanical job related stuff. Your brain is working out whatever it needs to work out, however it
oh
needs
yeah,
to work out.
most
And your
definitely.
brain is your brain, right? So I think that for me, I like to look at my dreams. I wake up in the morning and I make one of two decisions. For decision A, that was interesting, and move on. And decision
Hmm.
B would be, oh, wait a minute, I need to think about this. And I'll sit down and
Right.
spend a little time trying to suss out what I just dreamed about because I woke up and like, wow, that was really strange.
Yeah.
Or wow, that was really interesting. And I have a lot of dreams that feel like they are otherworldly.
Right. Yeah, and it's one of those things that the brain is an organ that is still 100% not understood, right? So The same way we're like, okay, well, if you die in your dream, you die in reality. Well, in truth, there's hypnotists, there's all kind of different people that can trick your brain into thinking you died or thinking that you're stiff and you can't move. So your brain is an insanely powerful tool. So
It really
could it
is.
be possible
It
that
really is.
you have such a panic attack in a dream that you could die in reality? I mean, it is sending signals to your body in what it's doing, so it's possible. Could it? But the likelihood of it, no
Not
one can
sure.
say. Yeah, no one can
Yeah.
really say because there's so much different information, different rabbit holes, different things that tap into your brain and what it can do, what it can't do, especially when you start getting into dreams, astral projecting, like all that stuff ties into your brain.
Wow. It's well said too. But I think I'm wondering more if your brain is working all the time and it's just going through stuff. And
Hmm.
I'm not a person that can sit and do nothing because my brain is always like meditation is important to me because I really need to quiet my brain down sometimes. And that's
Hmm.
what meditation just stops, just stop, just stop. So I feel like when I go to sleep, my brain's like, woohoo, and it just does doing whatever, whatever it wants
Right.
to do, especially
Hmm.
when I'm in the process of developing a story, because it's almost like it fills in the blanks for me. And I wake up the
Right.
next morning and go, ah, yeah, that right there. But for some people, if you're under a lot of stress, your brain can be very active and your dreams can reflect often
Hmm.
where you are in your life. So if you're in
Yeah.
chaos, you can have unpleasant dreams, which what do we call those? Nightmares, right?
Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. And it really just, it can be pointing out areas that you need to pay attention to. It can be pointing out areas that you're stressing that you need to be like, hey, you're paying a little too much attention to this, or you're not paying attention to this. It could be showing you a glimpse of the future. And
Yeah. Yeah, what's that tarot card, the tower where everything's just like
yeah.
crash burn. If so nightmares.
Hmm.
I is some of it can some of it be almost like instinct? Because I know, I live in a city and sometimes stuff happens. I
Hmm.
live in the San Francisco Bay Area. We had an earthquake yesterday, and we have earthquakes.
Yeah.
I've lived through a couple of big ones in my lifetime. And it's part of like in some parts of the nation, there's hurricanes and tornadoes. It's just earthquakes are what there is. And so if stuff is happening in your vicinity and you are either A, sleeping through it,
Right.
or there's noise happening, like maybe there's sirens going down, or maybe your neighbors are having a fight. Sometimes I feel like our instinct is to get us up for fight or flight. And the dreams we have at the
Hmm.
time it's happening can reflect that. Like we'll be dream we're being chased, or we'll dream we're being attacked by something, or
Yeah.
something that happened to jolt us up. I feel like that because that's happened to me.
Hmm.
I've dreamt that I was being attacked with an assailant with a knife.
Hmm.
And then I woke up and somebody had broken into the house next door. So there's lots of sirens and jabber, and I
Hmm.
woke up. Sometimes stuff like that, I think, can bleed into our dreams as well, right?
Yeah. I want to say it's that as well because it really depends on the environment and what you're hearing around you. And even if you go to sleep with the TV on, like there's a gentleman I work with that he goes to sleep to Game of Thrones. I can't because my mind
Oh
would
my
be
gosh.
my mind would be focused on Game of Thrones and I'd be listening to it while my eyes are closed. But he goes to sleep to it, and that's perfectly fine. And
Oh
I
God,
mean,
it's great. I can't even imagine what is
right. So
winter is coming.
exactly. I I can't. My mind would be focused on the words, and I'd be seeing it in my head.
All the
So I
crazy stuff going, oh.
right. So I can't do that, but it can definitely play a part in
Oh
you
my goodness.
sleeping and what you're dreaming about and everything else when you have something. playing in the background, it now starts to hit your subconscious mind instead of your mind that's trying to go to sleep. And to think about it in a sense of a water hose, right now, back then, you can say that we were able to put the amount of water in a bucket and it can suffice. You get the information, you put it in the bucket, everything seemed to fit in the bucket perfectly fine, and you can remember everything. It was no overstimulation like what we have now. Like now, it literally turned from you still have the bucket, but now you're trying to put the bucket under a waterfall, and you're expecting the waterfall to fit in the bucket. So your mind is going to constantly try and figure out how to get the waterfall into the bucket, but it's too much information. It's just way too much that's going
Yes.
to be going through that you're not going to be able to capture it all.
It's a lot. And add to that the fact that we use literally such a small part
Hmm.
of our brain. So when you go to sleep, your brain is free,
Right.
no filter brain.
Hmm.
And that's where
So
that concept you're talking about is there's too much information for the bucket to hold.
yeah.
Because that's why it misfires and you're trying to interpret it's like your brain is speaking a language you don't understand. And
Hmm.
so like in the little fun example that I gave, it's like spitting off all this information and I interpret it as me and my mom went to go get ice cream and the rock served it to us. That's not what my brain was trying to say, but that's
Right.
how I interpreted it because it's
Right.
just so much information.
Exactly. And if you want to look at it, let's bring back to your favorite movie, The Matrix.
Yes.
I mean, it's all coded information. Can you
Yes.
see all of the code? No, no one can ever really read all the code. You just kind of decipher bits and pieces of what you can and then, take it as it is.
Yeah, man. And there's so many films that have captured that for us and tried
Hmm.
to give it to us in a different way for us to see. And then we have films that depict